All right, here we go, 365 Sports, and we mentioned, Craig did during his segment Off the Radar today, cut day in the NFL, and of course that'll kind of scatter throughout the week, people being picked up and dropped, and practice squads and more. John McClain joins us, NFL Hall of Famer, with us on 365 Sports. John, we kind of went over some of the cuts, some of them that pertain to even Big 12 or some names at Baylor, et cetera. Your thoughts, anything in particular that jumped out to you today?
Cleveland kept 4 quarterbacks with the idea of trading one of them, maybe Jameis Winston, but if teams see that they're trying to trade a quarterback when they kept 4, it means they're going to release somebody, and you might take a chance on getting them. On the other hand, if you give them a 7th-round pick, you're guaranteed of getting them. The cut to 53 doesn't mean nearly what it used to when you could have 6 on your practice squad. The fact that you can put 3, if they clear waivers, you can sign them to your practice squad. And usually out of 16, and your international player makes 17, you'll probably keep 12 of your guys and look for 4 from other teams. And at 53 changes, because right away, if you're part of the 53 and you get put on injured reserve, it means you have to miss at least 4 games and you can be activated. And you're limited to the number of activations you can have. If, for instance, you're Case Keenum, the Texans' 3rd quarterback, they put him on season-long injured reserve, and his best role as the 3rd-string quarterback is mentoring C.J. Stroud, which he did last year and did a great job, the unsung hero. So by being placed on injured reserve, he'll still make his $3 million. He'll still be around mentoring C.J. Stroud. Can't do it on the sideline during games, but teams do that. And so we're a long way from seeing final 53-man rosters. And usually every team, to keep some of the guys motivated, say from the 45th to the 53, they keep churning those roster spots. They get a revolving door at their facility or their stadium where they're bringing in players for tryouts. Bill Belichick did that for 20 years, and it was kind of a tried and true formula, and they certainly do that here since their GM, Nick Caserio, spent 20 years with Belichick. So it's very, very interesting to watch how things are done now. I know the Cowboys got only 1 draft choice who didn't make it. He'll be on the practice squad. Another one is on IR, and that's usually what it is. Teams want to keep as many of their draft picks around because it's easier to have your guys, if they're called on, who are familiar with your system, than some guy you've brought in and you have to teach him your system. And then in 2 or 3 weeks, he's got to be forced into the lineup.
John, did anything surprise you today about guys who maybe have gotten cut or not? And do you expect to see maybe another flurry of trades? Because there's been kind of a lot of those by normal standards.
No, I don't expect to see a flurry of trades, Paul, and nothing has surprised me because they can turn around tomorrow and they can sign guys to the practice squad, which is the next best thing, and you'll see them back. Everybody's getting a lot of time off coming up before they report on Monday to begin regular season. And so you'll see a lot of these guys back, and instead of being on the 53-man roster, they'll be on the practice squad. So it's not as big a deal as it used to be. We learn a lot more about injuries. A lot of head coaches try to keep injuries quiet. Like D'Amico Ryans, he won't acknowledge the guy's injured. So until the week of regular season, when they have to file an injury report, that's the first time we're going to know how bad somebody is. And their 3rd-year linebacker, Christian Harris, who was a terror at the end of last season, he was placed on injured reserve as part of the 53-man roster, which means he's going to miss at least 4 games, and that's a blow to the defense.
So, John, a little piece of advice here, as I typically do a roundup after the 53-man rosters are, cut down. But when should I, and I do that in terms of, the Baylor guys on the roster for the website. So when would be the best time to actually do that? Like the week of the start of the regular season to have the, most clarity, because clearly there's a lot of plates in the air right now?
Well, that would be ideal, but when they come back to practice squads, they're not going to turn around and get cut. So once they sign the practice squads tomorrow, You can look over every roster and find those Baylor guys.
Okay.
And I think you'd be pretty safe in saying they at least are going into the season on the team.
Okay, thank you for that. I will get on that. And our long national nightmare is now over, John. The Dallas Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb have shockingly agreed to a new contract. He is going to be very handsomely paid, huge signing bonus. Your thoughts on Dallas finally getting this done, and did it need to take this long to begin with?
It's so interesting, Craig, the way Jerry Jones does business. He has these long holdouts. There's so much hand-wringing, but he never loses anybody he doesn't want to lose because of money. But after those long holdouts, he pays them money that he could have paid them a month ago and had him in training camp. Now, CeeDee Lamb is such a great player. I don't expect him to skip a beat, and that's if he has been working out. And I'm talking about there's a difference in being in shape, running around on a field, your high school field, and catching passes from some guy you used to play with, and NFL speed and NFL shape. So if he has a couple of drop passes early, it won't be a surprise. But if he has 150 yards, it won't be a surprise either because he's a great receiver. And I just have never seen anybody pay as much as Jerry will pay, but put him through hell. And if he doesn't get Dak Prescott done, even at $60 million, if he rolls the dice and all of a sudden they win 12 again, and Dak wins a couple of playoff games or wins the Super Bowl, Jerry would be so happy. But think how much it would cost when he's going to be an unrestricted free agent coming off a great season. No matter what happens, it's always cost you more if you wait. And that's the way it was with Lamb. That's the way it's going to be with Dak. And that's the way it's going to be with Micah Parsons.
Why then is he so risk averse all of a sudden? Because that's all this is that, you know, he can say things like he's all in, but the Cowboys are so afraid of the salary cap and they still wind up screwing it up. Nothing that they do makes any sense anymore, John.
Well, bleep, Paul. He's the best bleeper that's out there doing the business. He's the smartest SOB, and he's a bad mother bleeper. And, you know, people that have dealt with Jerry knows he likes to cuss, but most people, you know, you bleep it out or you don't use it. But Clarence Hill is with that new website in Dallas, and obviously they let him use every word Jerry said. A lot of people are like, oh, my God, Jerry Jones talks like that. Well, a lot of them do. And so it didn't surprise me, but his high opinion of himself makes me think Clarence interviewed him after he had a few pops.
Johnny Walker Blue, baby.
Might have been that little party they have down in L.A.
I can tell you this.
At training camp.
When we were at the one at like Sky Bar, wherever we were, I was up at the bar when he was there, and he got his vodka out of what looked like a tabernacle. Like, seriously, they opened it up and was like, here you go. That's his stuff. So
you think he's ever been there before? Other times.
I mean, or he just had it brought in. So
yeah.
At the combine, Jerry, he doesn't go up on his bus. He goes up on his jet. But his drivers bring his bus up. They park it outside the hotel. Mm-hmm. People can go take pictures of it. And it's no secret where they are. Well, Jerry will have a meeting once a year where he invites the media over there at night. And Jerry likes to drink, and they can get some of their best stuff. I know when he came here to the Houston Sports Awards to present the late Bob McNair with a Lifetime Achievement Award, I introduced Jerry. And he came by himself, no security, no anything. And I was told, make sure he's got a drink and he knows where the bathroom is, and he'll be good to go.
And what is his preferred type of liquor?
I think it's vodka. I think he's a vodka guy.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do anything but like any kind of whiskey that's got a little sugar to it, like Crown or something like that. I'm not.
He wasn't drinking beer and he wasn't drinking wine.
Yeah. John, the NFL's about to start. It's still like this gap between the cuts and then eventually the games. Your thoughts would you take Kansas City against the field right now with Mahomes and where they are?
I would not, David. I would take the field. And the reason is the odds. Now, if you'd asked me this question last year, I would have said I'd take the field because there's a reason no team since the Patriots early 2000s has won back-to-back Super Bowls. Then they did it. Nobody's won 3 in a row in the Super Bowl era. Some have won 3 in a row before the Super Bowl, but there's other teams are talented. There's so many talented quarterbacks and coaches out there. People study Patrick Mahomes constantly, and one reason they can't get a grip on him is because he goes into the game with a game plan, and then he does things he had no clue he was going to be doing. And that if he doesn't plan for himself, and some of these plays that he makes with eyes in the back of his head, how can the opponent's game plan for that? All they know is to expect the unexpected when it's Patrick Mahomes, and those things he does, whether it's a behind-the-back pass to Kelsey in preseason, they always seem to work. They don't get intercepted in return for touchdowns because even though he does something like that, I'm guessing if he were leading a fast break in basketball before he did a behind-the-back pass, he'd be damn sure that he was in position to do it, and the guy who was going to catch it had the ability to make it and make it safe instead of the bad pass going for a turnover. So he's been extremely fortunate that some of these wild and crazy plays that he makes that get so much attention are successful. And, it drives Andy Reid crazy. And I'm sure he holds his breath sometimes when he sees it, but we don't see it backfire.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not like he blanks on himself. It's a unique. It's not like he does it a lot, but he does it, and it is just part of the game that he plays. It's just it's just incredible. It really is how good he is.
Backyard football. Can you imagine the way he must have been when he was playing out in the street, in the yard, when he thought he might be a baseball player, but he's a football player, and some of the things he would pull off with the neighborhood.
Oh, I bet you it was.
John, I've told this story before, but there was, his father obviously was pretty well known, especially in a small town like where I grew up, 100,000 people. So he's like the only Major League Baseball player from the city. But we were hearing about his son, this young Patrick Jr. We were hearing about him when he was probably like late elementary, early middle school.
Yeah, he would hang around the Rangers
Club. It was always like he was going to be a baseball player, though. And then all of a sudden he got to high school, and I ended up covering his games his sophomore and junior years. He was actually a safety as a sophomore, and then he took over at quarterback. And I guess credit to Cliff Kingsbury for seeing it before anybody else, but he was doing stuff like that back then. It's just amazing that he still somehow kind of flew under the radar. But, what an incredible athlete.
Those kind of guys, yes, they work hard. They get offended that people think they don't work hard. It comes naturally, and he works his butt off just like all of them do.
Yep.
And I'm guessing, is he in practice flipping passes behind his back? Maybe when they're not serious. And I don't think he orchestrates those things. They're just instinctive.
Mm-hmm. I saw Bobby Stroop, who still trains him.
Here's the thing. Bobby Stroop has moved up to Kansas City because he's trained Patrick Mahomes. John, one of his other clients is Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah,
you talk about a boon in Kansas City sports training when you got Patrick Mahomes and Bobby Witt Jr. That's amazing.
It's an impressive client list, and I would think that he could add just about anybody he wanted to. And I'm guessing, though, he keeps it down so he can focus on those guys because, my God, Bobby Witt's an MVP candidate. They're coming to Houston. I'm going to see him on Sunday, and it's amazing how many great young shortstops are in Major League Baseball right now. All 25 are under, and I can't wait to see Bobby Witt.
Yeah, they train with Patrick on some of the things you see him do, like spin moves on top of somebody's body. It's pretty amazing. Thank you very much, John. As always, we appreciate your time.
Thank you, and sick 'em Bears.
Thank you very much, John McClain, Hall of Fame columnist, Tuesdays, usually around 5:30.